control. Politicians and celebrities make deals behind closed doors, promises broken, and their income soars. Hidden agendas run the grand parade. In the circus, choose a masquerade. Believe me, I wouldn't lie. I've been given money, power, and fame to keep you in line.
Welcome. Happy Saturday. Where are we? Anyways, today we are going to be reacting and watching Professor Yang's clip on the world is doomed. Now what? Like, what do we do now? Like, now that we know all this. And then we'll be discussing how we're slaves. And since we want to end this doom and gloom stream on a positive note, we will be working out the American slave class structure. So that should be really fun. So we can see like where we are on the hierarchy of the slave structure, which is, you know, we're all kind of the same. We're just like, I don't want to give it away. I don't want to give it away. I'm going to wait. I don't know if Damon's coming. He has a link. So if he feels like coming, he will come in. But until then, yes, he is watching some samurai fighting show right now. He might come in. I don't know. We shall see. You can't like push boys because, you know, you gotta be careful with them. They like their alone time and they like to like look at other dudes like killing each other for some reason. Like that's what gives them the energy to survive, I guess. Look, I don't know. All right. No, he does not watch that. Oh my God. Okay. So let's see. What do we think he's going to say? Like, what is the end? Oh gosh. Are they going to be talking about I don't want to say what they are because like, whatever, but what if he talks about them? Are we allowed to talk about the JWs, whatever? Are we allowed to talk about that anymore? Because like, why is he talking about this? I can see in this letter behind him that he's going to bring them up. And I kind of don't want to hear about this shit anymore. It's like, I feel like it's a trap. Like they're just trying to get everybody to say something bad about them so that when they take over the world, they can just like blow us up or something. Just be like, and you get a drone, and you get a drone, and you get a drone. So that's why I'm like, I don't want to say anything about anyone negative. Let's just all kumbaya. Anyway, so let's hear what Professor Yang has to say about the end of the world, and let's discuss.
I want to thank the founding members of my Substack because they're truly generous, and they've left some questions and comments, and so I will answer them now, okay? So could you help me, Amber, by reading the questions? Okay. So I can rest a bit?
Okay. Dear Professor Jiang, I'm an avid viewer of all your lectures on YouTube and your content on Substack, and I want to say a huge thank you for the incredibly important content you are sharing with humanity. I'm a 27-year-old Jew living in Israel. I oppose any Zionist idea and any nation state whatsoever, including Israel and including Palestine. I would like to know whether you think it is advisable for the younger generation of Jews, both those living in Israel and those who do not, to live in Israel. On the one hand, anti-Semitism is likely to increase the diaspora, which will lead many Jews to think that Israel is the safest place for us. And the chain of events that are likely to unfold will cause Jews to believe that the Messiah is just around the corner. On the other hand, we are heading towards living here in a technocratic ghetto of surveillance, digital ID systems, and so on. I'm sure that many sane Jews who simply want to live in peace regardless of religion or race follow your wonderful work and will...
Wait, hold on. What? I forgot. All right, hold on. I had it on like the speaker thing wrong, you guys. Shut up. I didn't say anything. Okay, so let me just forward this because, okay, look, I want to hear what he has to say. But basically, they're just like, what do we do? Because look, nobody nowhere wants the world to end or for this techno feudalistic society to take hold. We are already slaves, as we'll get into in the end. We will talk about the different categories of slaves. So we're already slaves. Everybody, doesn't matter what your religion is, every single religion, every single race. If you're human and you have to work or do anything in the morning, you are a slave. Therefore, we all are. And it is really ridiculous to think that some are better than the other because we all have to do the same thing. Do you know, like in Israel, you have to sign up and like go into the army. Like I think it's like 1 or 2 years you have to do that. So they have to train you, whether or not. Yeah, some of us are kosher slaves. Some of us are halal slaves. Some of us are, I don't know, heathen slaves. I don't know. Some of us are witchy slaves. Some of us are demonic possessed slaves. Some of us are whatever, Buddhist slaves. Like we're all different varieties and colors and types of slaves. We're all freaking slaves. So let's move from her letter, I think it's a girl, to what does he have to say? Like what's going to happen to all of us slaves? Because that's what we are.
Listen, I think Patrick is not about the Jews. It's about these evil people who want to control the world, and they want to use Jews and Israel as a tool to do so. And a lot of Jews recognize this fact. A lot of Jews recognize that traditionally they've been used by empires in the past. And this is a great question. And I'll say certain things. The first thing is that I believe that the people who will be most resistant to patriarchate, the people who stand up and fight patriarchate, will actually be Jews themselves. Jews have a great tradition of being on the front lines of resistance for justice, for humanity, for all that is good in the world. So I believe that Jews will play a very important part in the resistance against Pax Judaica. Second thing that I will say is that things look dark, but what we've learned this semester are 3 things, okay? The first is that evil must triumph so that good may rise. There must be total darkness for the light to shine. And all hope must end so that we can become hope ourselves, okay? So please remember, there's a bright spark in us. When all hope seems lost, that spark will remind you of who you are, and it will lead you into the light, okay? So I don't have specific instructions or ideas on how to counter Pax Judaica, but I think that being aware of Pax Judaica and being aware that we individually have the capacity to resist is fundamental to what is to come, okay? So thanks to Daniel for the question. Okay, all right. This is from Kevin Joel. Can you read, Amber?
Okay. I first want to thank whatever gave you the courage to continue past tribulations, maybe Mrs. Jiang, and continuing to teach. Your will and dedication to learning and teaching is monumental compared to the attention spans of newer generations. I think I speak for most of us who watch, but you have definitely made a historical impact on us. It seems
Let's hear.
The Frankists have spent centuries preparing for today, and that's why they win, because they're willing to think long-term, they're willing to work together, they're willing to make necessary sacrifices to achieve heaven on earth in their eyes, okay? And so we need to, if you want to defeat them, you need to become like that. Okay, you need to think long term. You need to like understand. You need to make sacrifices. Okay, it's something that you cannot defeat in 1 day or 10 years or 100 years. You have to like believe in yourself. You have to believe in humanity. You have to respond by working hard or making sacrifices. Okay, by learning. All right. So that's the only way.
What is up, everybody?
Dang. All right. So basically, we will never win. That's what I got. Did you guys get something else? No. Slave class is going to keep on being slave class. They're going to enslave us. He's like, have some hope, you guys. If you guys just like band together, maybe in like decades or centuries, you guys can defeat these people who have been band together for decades or centuries and planning this forever so that they can enslave you. Like, seriously, whatever. It is what it is. I just don't see, like, they have divided us so good that people will say stuff against somebody's race, somebody's religion, somebody's whatever personality. I don't know, like whatever it is, to kind of classify people. And that's what they love. They don't see color or like races or religions when they look at us. They just see dollar signs, and they're just like, how do we herd the cattle into where we want them to be. How do we get the cattle to collectively think, feel, and do what we will feel is the most advantageous for them to feel so that we can more easily control them to get them to do what we want. So yes, so like think of a farmer. You can have a good farmer that has a small amount of cattle, right? If you have a small amount of cattle, you can be more kind and generous and whatever. But if you want to squeeze the most out of each cattle, the most money, the most everything out of this cattle, you need to work that cattle. So you might be like, look, I'm not gonna, like, I don't care about the cattle. I just care about getting the most out of them because I have so much cattle. So no individual cattle really matters to me, right? So then you could be like, well, I'll feed them poison. It'll bulk them up. I'll, make them take all these things that will make them weaker and more easy to control. I'll feed them stuff that will keep them alive, but not really healthy. And I'll make sure that everything I give them to make them feel better kind of takes away their mind. So they're more passive and they just funnel into like exactly the path that I need them to funnel into. So that is what the elites think of us. We are, we are the long pigs after all. So as long pigs, they're going to do what they're going to do. And we are just going to keep on working until we die because that's what we do. All right, let's see what else he says. Oh, let me put the volume on.
Know is that when empires come into being, that's when they end. Okay, so the moment Pax Judaica comes into being, it has to end because Pax Judaica becomes arrogant, it becomes obvious, it becomes narrow-minded, it becomes insular. Okay, and so Pax Judaica will fall. We don't know how long Pax Judaica will last. It may not even last that long. Okay, maybe 10 years, 20 years, who knows? Okay, but it's a very unstable system. So what we need to do is look ahead and think about what humanity looks like after Pax Judaica. Also, I hate to say this, but it looks like the world is about to end. Wars everywhere, destruction everywhere. Maybe 9% of humanity gets wiped out. Okay, so we need to face this fact, prepare for what the future looks like after the great flood that is coming. Okay, and we have to.
What? Wait. Okay, so we have to prepare for a flood now. Did somebody hear flood? Is there a flood coming? I haven't been warned about this part. I just thought like they were gonna nuke like half the world. Does that mean that there's gonna be a flood? Like, I'm not quite sure. When you are on a plane, right? When you're on a plane and you're flying over the world, most of it is freaking empty space. Do you guys ever think of that? Most of Earth is empty space. So why do we listen to them when they try to herd us into these tiny little city hellholes? I mean, they're hellholes. Anyone who's like, I love cities, you are the sickest person. Sick, mentally sick, because there's nothing good in a city because you're all together, you're crammed together, you're in a tiny little apartment or a tiny little house crammed next to another tiny little house. The traffic is killing you. It's just like everything is misery and hell. And yeah, like I'm just not into cities. And I feel like when people, like I remember growing up, people used to love New York and say New York is so wonderful. The energy, energy. I'm like, what freaking energy? This is hell. It was a seriously sick place. Nobody knows anybody. So if you get mugged, people just like walk over you. If you fall down, people like just walk over you because there's so many people that human life becomes worthless. And yeah, it's only like 5% of land that the humans occupy on the earth. So like literally, if you just lived in a place with less people, you could be human at least. Like you'd at least be a worthwhile human being. But no, when you live in a city, you're basically devaluing yourself to just like a body. So people don't want to bang you or rob you or, try to steal from you or something like that, or like get you to do something or buy from them or whatever, like whatever thing, because that's what city people do. the worst types of people gravitate towards big cities because they know they can be anonymous. They have tons of marks to go after. They have tons of people to rob, to manipulate, to whatever. It's just like, ugh, cities are gross. Let's see, what is this? Yeah, I mean, I feel like you're less likely to be mugged in a forest. You're probably more likely to be mauled in a forest. But yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. Bears will be the new muggers. Yes, they will be the new maulers. They will maul you. All right, let's see. So I guess we're having a flood. That's fun.
To use our imagination. And later on, as I continue my teaching, I will propose different scenarios, different solutions, okay? But this is a long-term project. Frank spent a lot of time conceptualizing how to conquer the world. We have to imagine how we can rebuild the world together.
Thank you for the super chat, Lord Gonzo. Oh my God, Lord Gonzo. What about the playback speed? You guys can understand it, right? At this playback, right? Because my brain thinks very fast. So like this sounds slow to me.
All right, this is from Wild Enkidu.
You speak a lot about the monad and Gnostic teachings. Do you see this as a possible emerging major religion? Can it be? It seems like this massive expansion, like the Bronze Age, Muslim conquest.
Okay, they're talking about the monad, all that weird stuff. I don't know if you guys have watched some of his lectures, but he claims that the elites do not believe in like Jesus and God and whatever, that they believe like there is something that created both of them and that's called the monad, and that we all kind of join into the monad when we die if we do the right, if we know how to do it. I don't know, some weird stuff. It's a little bit too esoteric for me. So like I kind of checked out, you know. It's a little weird, but basically that's what the elites believe. The idea of, I mean, you have probably seen some sort of movies in the past where they talk about like joining some sort of like motherboard matrix or some sort of supercomputer where you all become one and it's like one hive mind. And like that's what apparently the elites believe, which is absolutely sounds like hell. It sounds like hell to merge minds with all of humanity. Have you seen humanity? Have you been around humanity? Like the thought of having to hear everyone's thoughts and to think as one with all of these insane people. That's absolute living hell. I enjoy having my own separate mind from the herd. I do not want to join some monad and become one with their freaking mind virus something. It just does. Am I the only one who thinks that sounds absolutely horrific? And if that is a reality of reality, like, no, thank you. No, thank you. If hell means I have my own separate mind, I'd rather be there. If heaven is I have to share my mind, my thoughts, my everything with the collective, no way. I am not interested in that. I do not want anybody up in my brain, and I don't want to be up in anybody else's brain. That sounds disgusting. Am I the only one? No. Okay. No. See, that is freaking terrifying. Just imagine we're all joined with Siberius's mind and we have to hear all his insane thoughts all day and there's no escape. There's no escape. And he just never stops. And he's like, ah, and I'm like, oh no. Yeah, I am not. Yeah, that sounds Orwellian. The fact that they're like, yeah, this is like the top. Oh my God, I want this to be the end of the world or what. Ugh. I'm not into combining my brain. No. This is so. Ugh.
Then you have John Keats. William Shakespeare is also really good. Okay. Societies rise and fall so that there can be creativity in the world. Okay. It sucks if a society lasts for a long, long time. We know because we're in China. Okay. Societies are meant to rise and fall so that new societies may rise and fall as well. Parents must die so that children can be independent. Okay, so I understand death, destruction, war, these are terrible concepts, but they're all part and parcel of the human experience. We should stop seeing them as negative things and just as things that happen to us, and we should respond accordingly. Okay? So you think about the Bronze Age collapse. Yes, it was a terrible event, but it led to the founding of Israel. It led to the Greeks. It led to the rise of Persia. And these three different civilizations were periods of tremendous creativity in the human experience. And it seems as though we come to at the end of a cycle. Okay? So there's destruction. Destruction will mean rebirth. Even though there is stagnation, stagnation will lead to creativity. It's all part of a cycle. Okay? The human experience is one that is extremely dynamic, extremely resilient. So even though there's death, death always leads to life.
Okay, so I like that. I like thinking of it more in that way, not the flood analogy. That's scary, horrific shit. So, the end of every civilization is also the birth of a new civilization, and it doesn't have to be a bad thing. We always think, because we're humans, so we're supposed to think about the most negative outcomes that can happen for every possible situation, because that is what our mind is trained to do to keep us the most safe. Well, there's also good outcomes that can happen. For example, the founding of a lot of countries, if they do it properly, they usually have a lot of opportunities. And the first people to find the new countries or to raise up the new civilization usually become the top of that civilization. So if everything gets destroyed, but we still make it, and let's say we start a new civilization in, I don't know, the middle of the country where there's nothing right now, but we build up a civilization from scratch. Everybody who gets there first, they usually get free land. They usually have some sort of resources or whatever, or they can think of it more like the frontiers and stuff like that. I know when they were revamping, I think it was Singapore, they realized that in order to help the economy, they had to make it more like the founding of America. So in order to do that, they had to give a lot of free, easy loans to start businesses to people. And they had to make people who had a lot of money and wanted to start a business in the country, they had to let them in easier, right? So if there was a couple years where everybody in Singapore was able to easily start a business, there was no red tape. Here, if you want to start a business, do you guys have any idea of the amount of taxes and bullshit? We have a business, we have to pay the fire department to come do inspections, and then we have to constantly fill up this thing for the fire department, and then there's some rules where you need this a water fountain with this filter that needs to be cleaned and maintained by this company. You have to pay for that, and then this many bathrooms, and then this many parking spaces, and then on and on. And then you need insurance for all the things that could go wrong in the space with a client or a patient or employees and blah, blah, blah. All of these things you need that make it insufferably expensive and unfortunately cost prohibitive for most people to start a business. And when you start a business that employs other people, hopefully, if you're a solo entrepreneur, whatever, you're only helping yourself, right? But if you're able to start a business that can bring other people up with you, then and the handicap thing, oh, don't get me started on those people. Those people are criminals. Imagine that shit in Europe. Anyways, so basically starting a business, the longer a country has been going on, the more red tape, the more mafia. You got to pay off the mafia. We have a mafia in this country. We have many mafias. And you know what? You have to pay them off too. And a lot of the big corporations are working as mafias. So say you want to start a pharmacy across the street from a CVS, you're a pharmacist. First, they might try to offer you a job. You don't take the job. Now they're going to start threatening you. Then they're going to start sending bad reviews, and they're going to send people to go sue you for some made up crap, and they're just going to do one attack after another until your resources are drained, that you either go give up your business, or you go and join with them, or you sell it to them or something like that. But that's how it works. That's how it works in this country right now. And a lot of other established countries, because countries, once they reach a peak, right? Then you have all like the people who made it there in the peak, and they established themselves. Like let's say whittle it down to a town. You have a small town, nobody's there. People move in and they start making businesses. It's easy to make a business because there's nobody in this small town. All the spaces are cheap, right? They build up the town. Now they own all of these spaces and businesses in the town because they were there when it was dirt cheap. They're practically giving away buildings, right? So then you get in, like let's say your family and extended family are the ones who built up this town. Now, if another family comes in with money and they want to make a business next to you, you basically own every other business in the town. You're in charge of the police and whatever, and you have your little hands in all the pies that you can basically take them out. And that's what mafias do. And that is why Italy, a lot of Europe is all destroyed now. You can't go there to start a business because if you are not one of the first families to establish the business and the mafias in that area, then guess what? You cannot go in there because they will basically make your life a living hell. So everybody in Italy works in northern Italy in the big cities for big companies. And if you do not get into one of these big companies, you are screwed. Or you're in a small town, one of the mafia owned restaurants, bakeries, whatever. So they do have like 1,000 years old, whatever, like maybe a winery or something like that. We've been to a few. And it's been in the family for so long. The family is part of the mafia. The bakery's family is part of the mafia, so it's like that. Like if you're not in there in the beginning and the start of something, you kind of get pushed out. Like you can't rise. That's how it happens. And that's how it happened countrywide, all of Europe right now, America right now. It's really hard to rise up. You can work for one of these whatever companies, but you'll never own the company. Your family will never own the company. It's stopped. Like civilization has reached its peak. All of these civilizations all at once have reached their peak. So now what we have to do is destroy the whole thing. And when it rebuilds, we are going to have opportunities again. But in order for us to rebuild, it has to be destroyed. And I don't know what that's going to look like, right? Nobody knows what it's going to look like. It's not going to be good at first. Maybe at the end, it will be good, right? So all we can do now is prepare ourselves and our children to look for the opportunities of whatever's coming up in the world. There's going to be a country or an area in every country, let's say, that's going to be coming up. Everybody's going to be moving there or starting to start businesses there. And it's going to be cheap to enter. It's going to be easier. There's not going to be that many regulations in order to get people to go there. If we just do that, if we just keep our eyes open for that, I think we can do something. I know in Italy, a lot of towns have become empty, completely empty, because the mafia just made it impossible to start a business. So imagine you spent all your money to open a business and then someone from the mob goes, you have to give me 50% of your income or we'll shoot you or something like that, right? So when they do that, you're in a spot where you're like, I don't have any extra money. I haven't made money. And the beginning of every business, you do not make money, sometimes for 2 years. So if you are having to give the mafia all your money, you're dead in the water. That's why nobody starts businesses over there, because it's so freaking impossible. But if we can find maybe a town or something like that that's been abandoned, the mafia is gone, it's completely deserted, go in without anyone and then keep people out for a while so we can establish ourselves, then we can start all over again. And remember, it's always going to reach a point where nobody else can get in and it has to collapse again. So this cycle will not end. People want to be in the type of world where it's very stable, everything's the same, everything's predictable. But the problem is it is predictable and is kind of stable because you know what's going to happen, but it's always going to go up and it's always going to go down. And it's always going to have a lot of red tape stopping people from going up. Okay, I'll give you another example. So let's say you're a chiropractor, right? So if you're a chiropractor, when they start having chiropractic schools, they want people to come in. They want to have a good amount of chiropractors because then they can have a lot of people who are making money and who pay to get lobbyists to go to Washington to make sure that chiropractors have rights and laws and blah, blah, blah to help them expand their practices, right? But then after a while, after they have a lot of power and a lot of people want to be chiropractors, then it becomes oversaturated because this is a good deal. You have a lot of scope of practice. You can make a good living. So now everybody wants to be a chiropractor. So the ones who are already established, who were there first, they start making it harder for new people to become chiropractors. They start raising the price of the tuition. They start increasing the demands. Like now you got to do a 2-year unpaid internship with another chiropractor in order for you to get your license. So that's going to stop other people from being able to afford it, because who can afford an extra 2 years unpaid, or even sometimes paying for the internship for the pleasure of doing free labor, right? Like all of these factors come into play, and they really like to gatekeep industries once they establish them as a good one, right? That's just how it goes. So when that happens too much, when that gets too much, the system self-corrects. They go, we don't have enough chiropractors. All the ones are dying, and we don't have enough people paying for the lobbyists in Congress, so we're losing practice power and, our scope practice, right? So then they start making it easier for chiropractors to come in, and new chiropractors will come in, and, the cycle repeats over and over and over. This is how it works. Works with governments, it works with cities, with towns, with every industry, everything. So, and I've thought about this. I'm like, how do you stop it from happening? How do you make it fair? And the reality is you can't stop it from happening, and you can't make it fair, because then no one will do it. Right? So if we make it so like the chiropractors can't increase whatever, then there would be an oversaturation. Then all the chiropractors who are working would be competing with 1 million times more chiropractors, and then they would all unanimously go out of business because they would price themselves out. If you have too much supply and you don't increase the demand, unless you start going around making everybody get into a car accident, I really don't know how you can increase the demand for chiropractors, right? So outside of doing something nefarious, you are going to have to somehow lower the amount who get to be chiropractors if it gets too high, and then increase them if it gets too low. So the system has to constantly calibrate itself, and it will self-correct. We are just at the point where there's too much suppression, and there's too much, like, we're not able to move up in society. We're all like really suppressed. So now there has to be, and we've kind of like given up. We're like, well, we're not doing anything. We can't do anything that we can get out of this mess. So we're not doing anything. And you'll see a lot of people who are now, they're like, I'm just going to get into tons of debt because YOLO, who cares? I can never pay off my student loans. I'm never going to make enough money to buy a house. I'm never going to be able to make enough money to have kids and put them through college and, pay for their health care and my own health care. So people are seeing the system is no longer benefiting them. So they're opting out. So eventually there's going to be so little people, and there is, newsflash, so little people are having children, that it's going to be to the point where the system goes, okay, we put too much pressure on the population. We have to roll it back and start giving them some privileges again so that they feel safe and comfortable to be prosperous again. And this is how it happens. And I don't know, like, if you guys can think of a way to stop it from happening, but I absolutely thought of every reason, and then all the things that would go wrong for that reason, to the point where I'm like, shoot, there's no other way. I don't see another way. You can't do this like some sort of fair way. There is none. So this is what it's going to be. There's going to be cartels and mafias and whatever, and monopolies are going to rise and fall forever. I'm sorry. And I've thought about, if you guys can think of something to stop the cycle from repeating, I mean, I don't know. If you guys can do it, do it. Like, I would love to hear somebody go online and make like a really detailed video about how we can stop the cycle, because I think the elites would actually be open to hearing about it, because this is a lot of work to do. You know, rise and fall, civilization, rise and fall all the freaking time. It's a lot, okay? And plus it's very unstable, because what people don't realize is some of the elites also rise and fall during this, right? So just because you made it to the top of the pyramid doesn't mean you're safe, you guys, right? So let's say you were the top of the pyramid, you're a mafia cartel boss, right? But then your entire city that you were the head of, you've put so much pressure on the whole city, the entire town flees and the town is empty. Guess what, mafia boss? Now you're the boss of nothing. You're the king of nothing. You rule over nothing. So maybe you've made some money and you can survive for a generation or two, but it's going to start dwindling and you're not going to have generational wealth, right? That's how generational wealth stops. Eventually, the system recalibrates and a new elite will rise to power, always and forever. Yes. Yeah, and I mean, it's always going to happen unless we live in very small tribes. But in order to make really small tribes work, you need someone at the top who's going to kick people out. Like, hey, look, you're a drain on the system. You're out. Get out of here. And maybe that person doesn't make it. Maybe they just fall into the woods and somebody eats them, a bear or whatever. That's what tribes do. We have such a large structure condensed into these mega cities all over the world that it's going to rise and fall forever. Gold from insurance funds and laws. I don't know. No, thank you. I do not want to be anything like that. I had a extended family friend, let's say, that was running for something, but he didn't know how the game worked. Very naive person, okay? Narcissistic person, obviously, to run for. I think it was like governor or something like that, or like maybe a representative or whatever. Anyways, so he was running and he met up with the people who were in, I guess, let's say he was in the representative. He met up with other representatives and he's running, right? He's meeting with them and they're telling him, basically they convince him to accept bribes because he's an idiot. He's like, wait a minute, but that's a bribe. And it's like, no, this is how it's done. So you're going to meet with this person and they want you to fund this bridge because their company's going to pay it, but they're going to give you this money so that you can fund the bridge. And then these people want you to like fund this so that they can dump their pollution into this water system and blah, blah, blah. Like basically like all this type of fraud. And he's stupid. So he just went along with it. And then eventually like all the people who told him to do that, they told on him. It was all over the news because they don't let people rise. You freaking kidding me? Of course they're going to blackmail you immediately. You're not in the club, bruh. You ain't in the club. Let's see what else he's going to say.
All right. This is from Demi.
Professor, you have a remarkable way of synthesizing the best parts of spiritual practice while mitigating the worst parts, dogma, lack of critical thought. Was there a moment in life where you had your spiritual epiphany? I imagine Dante's Inferno helped.
Okay, so I think that my superpower has always been my capacity for self-reflection. Ever since I was young, I've been able to stare in the mirror and look at who I am and say, this is who I am, this is what I like about myself, this is what I don't like about myself. So I'm constantly in the process of self-reflection and self-rejuvenation and self-invention, okay? I've done it all my life. Okay, so I was a poor immigrant in Toronto. I was bullied a lot when I was young. I didn't like that, so I worked hard, got into Yale. And then after I graduated from Yale, I thought that I would succeed in this world. I didn't succeed, so I looked at myself in the mirror and I recognized that there were limitations to my Yale education. And I changed that, okay? I started to reinvent myself. I did a lot of things that were experimental, but
history, and it's been.
Are you taking a dozen different?
Oh, come on. Anyways, okay, let's see. A free trip? What island? You guys are crazy. Okay. That question was a little boring. Let's see. What is this one? Hi, Professor. I've always loved history and it's been a blessing to find your teaching. And then we had a class, blah, 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 blah. Oh, God. Okay. I don't want to talk about that stuff. let's see. He's going to talk about this. Let's hear this one. What's your favorite? Who is writing these questions? I thought we were talking about the end of the world. Ugh. This is clickbait. Okay, so moving on from his video, let's go ahead and talk about the fun stuff now. We're going to talk about the American slave class structure. Okay, is everybody with me? Okay, so since we're all slaves, right, we have many different types of slaves. I wanted to put them in like a pyramid structure, and then I realized we're all kind of on the same level with different perks and different problems. So there is no pyramid system. It's kind of like just maybe like 10% on the top. Like, and I would say we'll get into like what you need to be at the top at the end, but basically it's just 10% at the top. And 90% of us are basically in the slave class structure with different, I would say, different flavors of slaves. There's different flavors, which is fun. It's like, think of it like a box of chocolates. Like they're all a nice box. They're all nice little chocolates. They're all cute little chocolates. There's different flavors inside, but they're about the same size and weight. And they're pretty much all equal, but they're chocolate pieces, right? There's nothing, it's all the same. So, all right. On one, okay, this is going to be the first type. This type is like the stay-at-home adult child. This is a growing type of slave in the American slave class structure, right? So no job, no rent, but you're just mooching off your mom, your dad, both parents if you're lucky. Maybe you live in the basement if you're lucky, or maybe you're still in your bedroom growing up, But if anything happens to the family finances, you're homeless, right? You don't have any skills or savings, let's say, most of them, right? And, totally dependent on whatever happens to your parents. Maybe they get tired of having you there and boom, you're out. You're out of luck, right? So this is a very popular category of American slave, right? And there's nothing wrong with this because as I said, and as you'll understand towards the end of this stay-at-home adult child slave has more opportunities than some of the other slaves that you would think are doing better, but they're really not. Okay. The next one, it's the gig economy gladiator slave, right? So this one, they don't have a fixed job, but they're on the apps, they're doing different gigs. Maybe they have a home, maybe they're renting a small place. Everything is kind of up in the air, Hopefully nothing bad happens. They don't know if AI is going to take their gigs away or if AI is going to take all the other people's steady jobs away. And then they're going to start doing gigs and oversaturate the gig market. So they're just like, doing deliveries, doing little gigs online, whatever. And that is that one. Oh gosh, the cat's stuck in here. Okay. The next one is, I want to say gig too, but it's not gig. This is like another flavor, right? This is freelance. So when you are a freelancer, you are a highly skilled, basically gig worker, right? You're a highly skilled gig worker, right? But you're still a gig worker. But it's a classier gig worker. So work from home in your PJs, that is top tier. We all love that. But clients can ghost you. You can lose out on stuff. You can, like, somebody doesn't pay an invoice or there's a dry spell. You could end up selling your stuff or selling your blood or God knows. All right. So that's a lot of the slave class right now, right? Because a lot of us were educated. So we have a skill and maybe we can do it online, right? We can do some freelance stuff online. Yes. Okay. No hierarchy, but yeah. All right. Yo, what's up? Finally, yes. Nigerian prince, yes. I guess you can call them a freelance phantom. Okay. Yes. No pants is like the heights of freelance. Okay. The next one is student debt zombies. So this is like your average graduated with a huge amount of debt, but you can't get a job. So you're like, entry level shitty job. Maybe you're making something, but it doesn't even take a dent at your student loans. Maybe you're sharing an apartment with like 10 other people. Your loans are crazy. Your wages are being garnished to pay for the loans. You might be evicted at any moment. You're living in this ramen noodle limbo, right? But you have a degree. Yay. Still a slave, okay? All right, the surprise bill surf, right? So this is like you got a job, you got your roof, right? But if one thing happens that you can't afford, that's like a surprise hit, there's no emergency funds, instantly homeless. Every bill is like Russian roulette with your finances. You don't know, like here today, gone tomorrow. So many people are like this, or they're like this, but they are putting everything on credit cards to survive because whatever happened, the tire popped, they needed a surgery, their tooth fell out. God knows, American dream. All right, the next one we have a medical roulette slave. So it's like similar, but this is more like you got your steadiest job, basic accommodations, but you can't afford health stuff. So maybe you can't afford health care or you don't get health insurance, right? So you're right there too. Okay. You better not have anything wrong with your health. You better be brushing those teeth and flossing those teeth every night and mouth taping every night because dental care in this country will kill you, right? So you better be mouth taping. All right. You better be listening to when I do health podcasts so that you don't need health care. Because let me tell you, the second you need health care in this country, you're basically homeless, right? It's bad. So don't get into that. Yes. And dentists are crooks. They have lied to me so many times, you don't even want to know. All right. Then we got the inflation inferno peon. Okay. You're employed, you're housed, but you've got a set income, right? Your income is not going up with inflation, and inflation is crushing you, right? So your basic budgets, your groceries, your electrical bills going up, your insurance, your everything is going up. And so like you're inching closer to homelessness, right? So that's the inflation one. How many people are like this guy? Lots of them. And you got the child care chainsaw slave, right? This one, you got your job, your home, your kids. But not healthcare, daycare. Daycare is, there's so many people that I'm friends with that had kids and then they found out how much daycare, I keep saying healthcare. Then they found out how much childcare was, and they're like, that's more than I make at my job. And it's like, yeah. Oh, and by the way, they don't work on school holidays. And when your kids are in school, there's no one to watch your kids either. So what are you supposed to do if there's like a teacher planning day? The daycares are closed, plus the schools are closed. And now you still have your desk job. You can't just show up with like 2 kids. So now you're like having to use all this money on babysitters and other extra stuff, plus the daycare. And it's just really ridiculous. Daycare is skyrocketing like you would not believe. It's impossible. I have friends with PhDs that 100% of their income goes to childcare. 100% of their income. So if they were not married, they would not have a home, right? They would just be homeless with their 2 kids. Homeless with the 2 kids, or 100% of your income going towards just for the opportunity to work, to maintain your job while the kids are in school, so you don't lose advantages of having your career in place. Wild. You can't do it. And then, God forbid, the marriage doesn't work out. Neither of them can support themselves and the kids. Neither of them. So it's not going to work, right? Yeah, and you'd be surprised because daycares don't pay that much to their employees. So I'm also wondering like what's going on. And then I have a friend who owns a daycare and there's so much fees involved. There's so much like government oversight that strains them that a lot of it you think goes to the daycare workers and the owners, but it doesn't. It actually goes to all this government oversight. So again, bureaucracy draining your ability to make a living, right? So this is like when they overtax the slaves. That's what this is. Okay, my friend's wife, an educated woman with a master's, literally found it cheaper to stay at home with the kids while he worked full time. Yes, all of my friends have said this, all of them. And these are PhD educated. You would think they would make enough for childcare plus their job. Nope, and nope. Oh, yeah, and those are really expensive. They're very expensive. Okay. Then we have the side hustle shackled people, right? Yes, everything is just math when you think about it. The day job covers scraps, right? But if you get some burnout, everything will crash. There's no side gig, whatever. So it's just like you are basically in survival mode doing side hustles. And I know people who do this. So like this is like your handyman who does maybe Uber and maybe some delivery services and stuff like that on the side. So they're doing a bunch of stuff. It's a very variety stuff, or maybe they have a desk job and then like a night shift job. So they're doing a lot of separate things, but everything is oh my God, you can't even be a weed dealer on the corner no more because they legalize it. I know, like I feel you. You could have grown that stuff in your basement back in the day and, made yourself a nice, cushy little living. And you can't anymore. You can't even live in like, the ghetto with your little weed money anymore. Times are tough. All right. Then we have, this is where I am at. Woo! Okay. Stay at home mom, wife, not a paid gig, running the household, kid, whatever, right? Basics are covered, but if you get a divorce, if Sivo leaves me or whatever, or if he loses his ability to work, or if he dies, God forbid something like that happens, you're shit out of luck too, right? Ruined. So when people say stuff like, oh, I would never be a stay-at-home mom because then like if anything happens, I'm homeless. And I'm like, so far, like every situation ends you up homeless in America. Like what is the situation where there's no chance of being homeless? Because so far we are up to, I feel like 11, like 10, we've gone through 10 types of people who are just an inch away from homelessness. Yes, we're all taking care of him. Free Steve. Anyways, so like we're all in the same boat. So people need to stop saying, "Oh, that's the worst thing. I would never." Like I hate when girls say that. I would never be a stay-at-home mom. Oh God, just stop. Everybody is just so like everybody's screwed. Everybody. Okay, the next one. All right, the vacation blackout slave. So this is like you got your job, you got your house, you got your insurance, but you can't take paid time off. Your job is always like, no, you can't do that. You need to be here. It's important. And they're always like threatening to cut your position. So you feel like you can't take a lot of time off, especially in a row. So this is like when you're like a super slave, like you got those golden handcuffs slave. All right. So you're on the treadmill. You can't even take a break. You're like the most slave of slaves, right? But if you take that break, if you take one day longer or one day when they need you, you're gone and you don't know where to go next. There's nowhere. All right. And we got the overtime overload minion. So this is like, you got your gigs, you got your family, your home, but you're working 60 plus hours a week. And if you skip the grind, you're getting demoted, you're getting fired, you're going broke, you're getting homeless, your buffer that you're building is just getting eroded with inflation. So like you're working to survive, but you're barely surviving. And I know so many people who are like this. I know so many really good dads who are like this. So, one of my uncles who passed away, he was like this. He was a trucker. He did like side gigs and stuff like that, like mechanic stuff on the side, like a whole bunch of stuff. And he was just working. And he worked so hard. He didn't make it past, I want to say 58, and then clocked out. Really, really sad. He was a good man too, like a good one. And he sacrificed everything for the family and clocked out early, like you can only do so much. And this is the reality. Like he never got ahead. Like he always just made it, but he was a really good guy and a really good worker. All right. Then we got the housing bubble bondage. So you own your house, yes, but then taxes, the HOA, everything keeps increasing with inflation. Foreclosures are always being threatened, and you got a little bit of equity to like take out extra loans, but you're not making enough to like pay it back. So are you really free? You're just kind of stuck in this house. You can't really move because you can't afford all the increasing rates to get a new house, right? Yeah. So, I mean, people get stuck here too. This is another type of, slavery. All right. Then we got the corporate ladder leash holder. So mid-level perks, maybe you got a nice condo, but if you quit or you slip up at work, boom, you're gone, right? Your assets will be drained pretty quickly. You have a decent buffer, but still not enough to leave. So you've got golden handcuffs, right? You're not enough to leave, but not enough to like take something that will work you less. So you're still stuck like Chuck. Yeah. And property taxes mean you are just paying rent. So even owners are renters and renters are renters. So everybody's renters. You will own nothing and be happy, slave. Calm down. Yes. All right. Now we have the tech tethered thrall. So this is like your high paid tech dude, right? They got maybe like the cool modern loft. But once layoffs start happening or they start using AI instead of people, obsolete overnight. So they go from the top of the, beautiful, condo, whatever, with the view and the vibes to homeless, right? Maybe they get like some options or like a severance package to cover 3 to 6 months, maybe even up to a year if you were really important, but then boom, ruin, right? So there's a lot of people who work so hard and got themselves in this position. What is this? Oh my gosh. Yep. So next one. When people talk shit about the boomers, I know boomers. Boomers are not doing well. There's a few boomers who are doing all right, but most boomers are not doing well. Okay, let me tell you about what's going on with the boomers. The majority of them, not like the few 10% that are wealthy, right? So they had the long haul job. They paid off their house, but then if you live too long, and plus with inflation depleting their investments and whatever they have, all their income, because like if you're getting Social Security, if you're getting a pension. Rarely anybody has a pension, so please stop saying all boomers have pensions. There's hardly any pensions left. They're not living wages. Yeah, like if you're not 401ks, forget it. Like people are not living off 401ks. It's like really hard. You have to pay taxes on those and stuff like that. But anyways, boomers are not booming. Okay, they're not. So we need to stop blaming the boomers because they're just a product of their generation. A lot of the boomers, they're in a house that's paid off, right? But they have to pay taxes and insurance and the HOAs that are going up and up and up and up. And their set income is becoming worthless, right? So they have a set monthly income until they die, and it's becoming worthless. So they're stuck because they can't afford rent even in a smaller place. So they can't really downsize. And if they sell their house, they don't have an income. So they would have to go and do some menial jobs as an elderly person who probably has dementia and motor skill issues and memory issues and physical issues and stuff and health issues. So like they're not able to be working past, like, most of them past, like, I want to say 65, people start going downhill pretty quick, right? Definitely after 70, 80, you're like toast. And some of these people, they won't die. They're just like on medications, but they're like barely alive. And then, the other thing is they go into such medical debt that whatever they had up until that point, they have to sign it away to pay off the medical debt. And then their kids or grandkids get nothing. So it's really, really sad because they kind of were hoping that the kids and grandkids would be in the same boat. So they'd have their own stuff that they can sell to take care of them in their old ages. And now like kids are like, we can't even get a house. Can you give us your house? And they're like, I need to sell my house to pay for my end of life expenses. So it's not good for anybody, guys. So like, let's relax. Yeah, I know there's some people that I know that joined the military and I don't know, FBI, CIA, whatever, so they can get 2 pensions, right? Kind of job security. I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. But yeah, I mean, that might be one of the options that we get. Then you got the elites, enslaved executive class. So this one, you got your C-suite mansion, you got jet perks. But if there's a scandal, you remember that guy who got caught cheating with another CEO or whatever, another woman who was married to a CEO, and they got caught making out some sports game and they lost their jobs or whatever. So one scandal, boom, irrelevance. But, usually you got some savings way over 6 months, so you're good, and you have usually a network, so maybe you can get another job somewhere else. Yes. But you're still owned by the board. People think CEOs are like, oh, they're so evil. They did this and this. When you're a CEO, you have no freaking authority over that company. The board tells you what to do, and the board can fire you. So you better do what they tell you to do. So the CEO doesn't matter. We know some CEOs, and trust me, they're nice people. They're good people. And for big companies that you would think, oh, this company is evil. And it's like, no, it's not the CEO. It is the board, right? And the board members are the ones who really run the big companies. And the CEO is just hired to take the fall. Literally, that's their job. Whenever when scandals come up, they just fire the CEO and they hire someone else. So you get paid a lot as a CEO because you're basically the fall boy or girl or whatever. Yeah, so, whatever. I mean, there's going to be conflict no matter what you do, where you are. Yes, boomer boards. And also, there's some younger people on boards too, you guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they do have a fiduciary duty to increase profits, which means they're going to have to do evil things because the people on the boards basically say, I need more money. So you will add this poison filler into this food product that will kill people because we will make more money, or you will lose your job and we will replace you with someone who will. That's what the life of a CEO is, really. So it's just like high stress and powerlessness. It's kind of sad. Yeah. So CEO slaves, you guys. Executive CEO slaves. That's all they are. And I'm telling you that some of them are really good people. So like I feel really bad when I hear like their side of things, because then you realize how screwed we all are. Okay. The next one. Okay. So that's basically the categories of slaves, right? We didn't do Amish. I do not consider them slaves. I feel like they've got it made. They are the least enslaved because they have the most agency over their life. Okay. So let's talk about like what is freedom? What is it that you need to have to like not be a slave? So let's think about this, okay? Number one thing I would say you need to not be a slave is if you stop working, will everything crumble or not, right? And for most of us, if we stop working, yes, right? Then the next one is if the company or family fails, will you be in a bad situation? And for most of us, yes, right? Right? So we're seeing the pattern. Okay. The next one, no real agency. So can you just bail for a month, like on vacation, or change careers without any sort of fallout, right? No, most of us, no, right? We can't do that. Moving on. Okay. Vacation, can you just take paid time off, or even more than your paid time off? Can you do that? Or will that end in you fired or like some sort of demotion or some problems at work? Or like, you deplete too much of your savings. So like most of us can't do that. What about this generational wealth or land to give down, right? Most of us will never have that to give, even if you own your home and maybe you bought some, you're probably going to have to sell it for your end of life care, right? So you're not going to have anything to give to the next generation. So then it's going to restart the slave cycle. Yeah. Yes, I would say money does not make you rich. Agency makes you rich. If you have agency, you're wealthy. So what about, okay, the next generation still is going to have to grind because if you don't have any passive income to give on to the next generation, it is what it is. Okay. The debt is eternal. So a lot of them have like student loans, mortgage, whatever, credit card debt, collectors, whatever. And this can go down generationally. So it's like a lot that we have. Then we have healthcare. So a lot of us can't afford healthcare. And, bankruptcy is, going to probably be at the end of it. Or you need so much healthcare that you get stuck and tied to a job just for the insurance. And then they know that. And then they like work you even harder knowing that you need that insurance so much because maybe you got a sick kid, maybe you got a sick spouse, maybe you have a chronic illness where you need this really expensive medication. So you have to work yourself 20 million times harder just to keep this insurance. Then you got inflation. If inflation is just eating up your efforts, you're a wagey. If like every time you want to eat, you got to buy groceries and your dollar is worth less and less and less and less. That's slave shit. So Amish can like pass this, right? Because they only have to pay like a little bit of taxes on their land or whatever. They have to work their land though. So they are earning it. But eventually when you get older, the community takes care of you, which we don't have in the rest of America. We do not have that. So, yeah. The Amish know, like, I got a chicken out back. I can get an egg. I can kill the chicken. I can eat chicken breast today. They know that. We don't know that. We have to look in our bank account to see if we're going to get to buy eggs or chicken breast today. Emergency funds. Most people don't have the 6 months buffer that they need, right? So then, you got your little golden handcuffs, or maybe they're like rusty handcuffs. All right. And then we have like the always on culture, emails and text messages all the time. Like you ever have like a job that called you when you're on vacation and they're like asking for stuff when you're on vacation. You're like, whoa, I'm on my honeymoon. What are you doing? I am on my honeymoon. Wow. And these people have no respect for it. And they're like, well, you better cut it short because if you want this job to be here when you get back. That's why I quit, you guys. I was on my honeymoon. It's a personal story. I was on my honeymoon. We had an audit, which we do every year, and it's fine. I'm always perfect in it. And they're like calling me bitching, whatever. And then, I just said, you know what? I'm stressed out on my honeymoon. Is this for real? And then when I got back, like my boss was like calling me all the time, like yelling at me, like, oh, well, because you like bringing up that I had a honeymoon like 50 times, like, oh, because you abandoned us and blah, blah, blah during the audit. And, that's not going to look good on your evaluation and blah, blah, blah. Oh my God. Are you freaking kidding me? So I got pissed, and then Steven was just quit. And I'm like, I can't find another job. And he's like, it's fine, whatever. We'll make it work. And that's what we had to do. So yeah, no boundaries. Then we got the layoff lottery, right? Everybody can be obsolete overnight. The company has no loyalty to you. I would say your spouse has more loyalty to you than your company. So let's just bring that up again because I'm tired of dealing with people talking about that. There's no loyalty. So if they find someone who does it cheaper, better, you're out, right? And then side hustle dependency, like if your main gig isn't enough, you got like other things and you're going to get burnout. Everything's like ridiculous. And then maybe you can retire, maybe you can't. 401ks, they can crash with the market. Social Security, like, is it going to be there when you're older? Is it not going to be there? So like the whole like golden years, that's just like a pipe dream that they sold us to. Housing, rent or own, you still got to do taxes, fees, interest, and you can still get evicted if you don't do everything right. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's an illusion. Everything is an illusion. Back to the childcare. If childcare is so important to you, trust me, you're a slave. If you're worried about who's going to watch your kid, you're a slave. The Amish don't have that. The Amish have grandmas and grandpas and like extended family all around. So like there's always somebody around who will help watch the kids so you and your spouse can go and I don't know, have a date night. I don't know what an Amish date night is. It's like they go for a walk in the field or something, or like they go to the lake and camp or something. I don't know. I mean, that could be cute too. Go look at the stars, take the truck up to the lake and go sit on the, the roof of the truck and talk with your, that's adorable. That's way better than any European vacation, right? You don't have to be as stressed. Anyways, algorithmic stuff. So like, gigs and freelancing is still ruled by apps and ratings, and they could demonetize you at any time if you do that, or they can take you off the app, or they can ban you if you say something wrong on social media, blah, blah, blah. Apps can crash and die. The algorithms can change, Then, of course, there's no true ownership. Assets, like, they're really not assets anymore. And then we got a volatile market, right? Stocks, crypto, whatever, all that. It is what it is. What is this? What are you guys saying? AI will soon be showing how much the company values employees, which they don't. Everybody's getting laid off. Being Amish adjacent or being very flexible. I think you have to be Amish adjacent. And look, we tried being Amish adjacent. I can't even speak. So we got chickens. I was talking about getting like rabbits and stuff like that to like grow them in the backyard and see if we can like handle that stuff. And it was depressing for Steve because like, obviously I told you guys before, like they passed away. And whenever you're raising animals, there's a lot of death. On a farm, there's a lot of death. Sometimes like we would have like quails and they would be born deformed and they'd be like screaming and you had to like put them down, and it was like the most horrific, traumatizing shit you could ever imagine. Or something is just like born messed up and you have to do the right thing, and it's the hardest thing you'll ever. And that's what real life is, right? That's real life. But it's probably still, even with all the trauma look, life is, I guess, trauma and drama no matter what. But yeah, it is like you gotta just get out there. It's better to like call your animals and be sad, just like when you have to take your dog or your cat to be put down at the end of life, right? Everything is sad, but they also were important to you. And yes, there's lots of expenses in farming, but you do have an asset that's growing. Like another thing, like my fish, I'm breeding some fish right now, so I can sell them for money, and they are breeding like crazy. It's like kind of cool. And I can, so that's like, it's kind of like when you have a farm, like you can have chickens and they're making more chickens, and then you can sell those chickens to other farmers, and like they can sell them to other farmers, and it's like constantly creating income. And you're really, yes, you're sacrificing time and money to like grow them and raise them and everything, but at the same time you are creating your own world or whatever, your own ability to make an income. All right. The other thing, let's talk about non-competes and NDAs, right? We used to have like a really good no non-competes, whatever in Florida, but I think they just passed something that kind of brings non-competes back. So it's really bad if they start enforcing that. So basically, like, let's say you're I don't know, let's say you're a janitor. I don't know. No, let's think of like a service-based business. Let's say you're a facialist, right? So if you're a facialist at this spa and they fire you, but you've signed a non-compete, it could be like the non-compete can be like in 50-mile radius. So then you have to like move to another city or something like that to be a facialist, and that's what you're trained in because you can't compete with them. Like it's crazy stuff like that. Like they're adding into these contracts. So it's just freaking crazy. Anyways, then you got social pressure. So like if you quit on something, people call you lazy, and people do put worth with your productivity, right? When I tell people like a stay-at-home mom, they go, "Oh, you don't make any money, so you're useless." Like stupid shit like that. Like this is really like people think your worth is tied to your income. That's how that's like slave mentality. All right, then we got then we have the algorithms inflating our needs with a bunch of ads, and the algorithms making you depressed. So you feel like you need to buy this stuff. So a lot of people have been going into debt for cars, right? So they get a car that's maybe like $2,000 a month for some fancy car, not realizing like if that car breaks, you don't have the money to pay for that car. People are going into debt and putting stuff on credit to buy cars that they cannot afford. This is a really big problem that's happening in the United States. And when they're interviewing these people, they're just like, YOLO, who cares? They'll just repossess it, I guess, whatever. Because a lot of car companies are so desperate that they're like not checking credits and stuff as diligently as they used to, or income or whatever. And people are just lying, and they're just like, I'll get away with it for as long as I get away with it. And at least I'll have a car that's really nice for a while, because who cares? I'll never get out of debt anyways. Like this is literally the mentality of people. People are getting so depressed and just like, well, screw it. Just add some more debt. Who cares at this point? Anyways, and then we have like, we used to have pensions, and they changed it to 401ks. And when they did that, they destroyed your ability to retire because inflation is going up too high than they predicted. So again, people cannot retire. So that's why you see so many old people still working, and people start complaining that the boomers don't want to quit their job and give it to the younger people. But the reality is the boomers are stuck like Chuck. They're stuck in those jobs. Because if they leave, they don't have the income, because it's just not what they expected it to be. They thought they needed $1 million, $2 million, and now they need 10 million or whatever. So it's just like a big mess all around. Then you have like the gig economy is not stable. There's really no benefits. There's no security, right? So you're in control of your schedule, but it's a fake control, because if you don't do it, you're shit out of luck too. Then you have like risks if you want to have a family, because like you want to take care of your kids, but then if things don't work out, poverty, right? So, and then all of this stuff to put your kids into school or whatever. You want them to have like a better life than you, but can you even afford to put them in a good school? Right? Like, especially some of us, like, we have decent jobs and decent incomes, but we don't have extra money. So we can't afford to pay for that Ivy League school for our kids to try to get them a better life, right? Or at least the same level of life. And we're kind of stuck now because all the like whatever, the free money usually goes to very low income people. But once you have kind of a little bit of money, you don't get anything. So then you have to waste that money. It's like impossible now. It's just a bad system. Anyways, yeah. So like it's really hard to rise in the system. It's super easy to fall, and people fall all the time, but it's very, very difficult to rise. And part of the reason why for so long people never wanted to attack the wealthy is because they were brainwashed to believe that eventually that would be them. So don't attack the wealthy, don't attack whatever the system, because eventually it's going to work to your favor, right? So people were, watching all like the make money, whatever propaganda, like, oh, this is how you start a business. And most people, they don't have the ability to start a business, because the second you have dependents, you have kids, you have a family, you have bills to pay, whatever, you can't be starting a business because you're putting a lot of stuff at risk to start that business. And it's hard without like a parachute, or if you can't live with family while you're doing that. Like, the reason why we were able to start a business is because, thank God, my dad was like, you guys come and live with me. So like we got married and we moved in with my dad. And we didn't have to pay 1 penny to him, right? So like for those years, we did not pay one. We saved every bit of money we made so that we could get a house, so that we could, help to have money to, start his business, whatever, because you need to pay for like rent for months and months and months with zero patients, right? So you're paying like maybe like $6,000 a month. And there's nobody coming in yet because you have to build up your patient base. You're starting from zero. So if you don't have someone who's going to help you like that, it ain't going to happen, buddy. It's just so, so hard. And that's why it's like you guys, you gotta like get with other people. So if your family sucks and they can't help you, you got to get with other friends and make your own like little bonds with some people. They call it in Japan, like I think they call it like ikigai or whatever. You're supposed to like find your purpose, and you're supposed to find like a person in your life that you can, like, it's not just your spouse, it's like a buddy or something, like you and like your best friend, and go like, look, I want to start this business and you want to start this business, or like, let's start a business together. Like, you work, I will, get this, and then we'll both invest into this together, something like that. Like, you guys have to work out something to get out of this, because you can't do it alone. It's like, stop believing that there's self-made people. There's people who were helped, right? Oh, and I was watching something on fairy tales the other day, and they were talking about how fairy tales originally were stories of like horrible things or good things happening to people, but they were supposed to be random. Some of them were supposed to teach morals, like don't talk to strangers or whatever, right? But they were also to teach you that sometimes people get unlucky in life. Sometimes, you're born into this family and it's not good and your life sucks, and that's it. Or sometimes you're born low and you die high, and it's not because of anything you did. It's because there's a lot of randomness and a lot of luck to life. So one of the examples was that, like, the original story of Cinderella, she was a prostitute and she was taking a bath or whatever in a river, and she put her clothes on a pile next to the river, and the shoes were on the top of the pile. And a bird came and took one of the shoes and took it away, and then dropped it on a king, in the hands of a king. And the king says, I'm trying to find a wife. And then this falls in his hands, and he's like, this must be a sign from God. I will marry whoever fits this slipper. And it turns out to be a prostitute. And they change the stories to be like the moral person wins in the end. So like, oh, Cinderella was a good person, and so the prince realized she was such a good person, and that's why he married her. That's like the Disney version, because they're trying to teach morality and stuff like that. That's how they control the population. So it's like, we need to teach population to be moral because we want them to have these set of values, right? But the reality was they were to teach you that there's a randomness in life, and that not everybody is going to be the king or the queen or the top or the bottom, right? And sometimes you're up here and then you die down here, or sometimes you start up down here and then you end up here, and that is random, and we don't know about luck. So all we can do is hope for the best. I would think a prostitute would have nice shoes, because like whenever I've seen prostitutes like in movies, they usually have nice clothing. So I don't know. All right, so what else is next? Okay, I think that is it. How do I take this down? All right. All right, guys. So, oh, I wanted to show you all the store. I added some new funny stuff. How do I get to it? YouTube. So I have added some. Oh, here we go. Okay. So I'm not expecting anyone to buy anything, but I'm just showing off all the cute stuff that I made because I was bored. Yes, there's no such thing as self-made, as I've said. Oh my gosh. So anyway, somebody suggested, which one of you suggested the Free Steven beanie? Because hilarious, right? So anyways, Free Steven beanies. Okay, how do I show that? There you go. Look how cute it is. It's literally adorbs. Look at that. Yes, queen. Yes. All right, so we got that. What else? And I made this cup. Okay. Yes. Oh, cool. What is a sticker? I have no idea, but thank you, homie. I know, like, I don't know where they make this stuff. I ordered some stuff, so I'm going to show you guys what it looks like in person, because, like, I'm afraid, like, what if this is shitty quality? Because I don't know. So I ordered it, which is, again, more proof that I will never really make money off of this, because I think I spent, like, $100 on my own store, which is very bad. So there's, like, the Free Steven one, and then, of course, we have to put little Simperius on everything, just for the funsies. And I made a Free Steven hat. Yes, with a little eye. I want to see what the embroidery looks like. So I did get a Conspiracy Realist hat to check. And look at how cute the embroidered Simperius looks. Hilarious. Yes. Yes. Adorable. I don't know. Can I make it a write-off? Steven's like, you waste too much money. You can't have this much write-offs. This is a hobby. I'm like, yeah, whatever. We got this cute little one. And then I'm on the back. Yas. And then what else? Little Simperius on the sleeve. I need to make something for Damon. I don't know. I don't have any ideas. I appreciate you, homie. What's like the cheapest thing? I think like The mug is 14 and this hat is 28. This is the one I ordered because I want to see, because that looks really cool. I want to see what it looks like. And there is a little Simperius embroidered on the side. Yeah, it is his likeness. Look at that little roachy body. That is his likeness. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. Little cutoff shirt. It's very cute. Yas. Yas. Anyway, so this is what I got so far. Okay, this one is 25 bucks. Yas. See, that would be cute if it was embroidered, though. Oh, maybe I could put it on a beanie. No, I think it's too small of an area. Anyways, that's the cutesy stuff. Why no trucker hat? Okay, I'll make a trucker hat. Do you want it to say conspiracy realist or free Steven or Siberius? Yes, this is what I'm telling myself to feel better. Yes, someday this will be worth something. This is first edition merch. Yes. Anyways, is there anything else I wanted to talk to you guys about before we go? I am pretty much done. Flax. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. We'll do that. We'll do that. We can do that. That's easy enough. Anyways, yes. All right. Was there anything else I wanted to talk to you guys about? There was this guy who did this whole thing on the different classes in society. But it was like he did it, like smarty pants way. And when I did mine, I'm just like, let's just be real. So that's why I made mine more realistic, more funny, because we're all slaves. Did dead internet reality. You guys want a hat that says dead internet reality? Oh my gosh. Yeah, poor Damon. I think he fell asleep. He was going to come today, but he works a lot and this is like his, free time, fun time. So, I guess that's it. Unless anybody's got a question before I go or anything you want me to talk about, because that's all I had planned. Inflation and minimalism. Oh, you guys listen to Aaron Clary, right? So he does a lot of fun stuff while he's screaming. I feel like he lives in a trailer screaming to the void, like an old dusty man. But it's pretty funny. But I like when he tries to push minimalism, but it's like, I don't know, it's like minimalism. I feel like it's depression maxing, right? Doesn't minimalism seem like just depression? Thank you, homie, for coming. Coffee or tea? Okay. Oh, I didn't tell you guys about, we went to a very expensive, because it's the holidays, and I decided, you know what? I don't want to go on vacation for like Christmas or New Year's, like this time off. And I said, instead of doing a whole vacation, doing a whole thing, let's take that money and just do stuff that we normally wouldn't do. Because we live in Miami, which is one of like the most popular vacation destinations in the world. Why can't we figure out something to do here? Thank you. Yes, this is true. Anyways, so what we ended up doing so far was we went to a very expensive tea, like afternoon tea service in the Biltmore Hotel. So it's like this very 1930s, I think it is, when it was opened. Beautiful, historic hotel, gorgeous place. And we had a tea service. And it was like, Stephen was like, this is so dumb. Because, we dressed up all cutesy. The baby dressed it up like really cute, and she was looking cute. She can fit my old clothes, which is hilarious. Anyways, so I dressed her up in a little dress that I used to wear, and Steven dressed up in like some nice clothes, and we went and we had the tea service, and Steven's there like holding these little tiny bite-sized things, and he's like, this is dumb. But he tried to be a good sport and like calm down, like let us enjoy. And we're there like cheering with each other with every like little bite of the little pastries and stuff. It's super cute, you guys. I know it's a girl thing, but if a girl in your life, like your niece or your kid someday or whatever, or you get a girlfriend or your wife someday and she wants to do a tea service, like try not to ruin it for her by complaining about how expensive it is, because it's expensive, or how small the portions are, because yes, you're not supposed to get full, or how silly the whole thing is. We had a harpist playing like right next to us, and like the waiter was like, she will play anything you like, just let us know. And I'm like, oh my gosh, very nice. So then we told her to play some like recognizable songs for us, like 90s to early 2000s, and I forgot what she did, but it was like really, really cute. So I mean, it's better than spending all that money on vacation. Like if I wanted to come here on vacation, a decent hotel is like $1,200 a night. Are you freaking kidding me? So yeah, I spent $125 each to go to a tea service, but I didn't spend $1,200 to go to some hotel. Nope. That would be amazing. I would love to hear that. I did forget. Anyways, so maybe I can show you guys the Biltmore Hotel. Because you kind of see what it looks like. Okay, so here we go. This is the Biltmore Hotel. Metallica does go with teas, so I would like that. Anyways, it was gorgeous. So look at this architect. So this is where the tea service was in this place, and there's like a harpist at the end. Super cute. They even have like these vintage Victorian, huge, elaborate bird cages with like carved woods and like little glass with like window boxes to see the very rainbow colored finches. So it was like quite a sight. Now okay, here's the afternoon tea. Look at this, you guys. I know people hate this. It's like, why do girls pay so much money for some tea? Because it's awesome. All right? It is. So $95 per person if you get the champagne and the strawberries soaked in Grand Marnier, and $72 per person without it. But you know what? Thank you guys. I know it's a big waste of money, but you know what? It was fun, and it's like a mini vacation to me. And I saw the most beautiful girls having brunch. Gorgeous, like top tier, beautiful girls. So I'm telling you guys, if you want to find a beautiful girl, they love tea. Not like the cheap, kitschy cottage tea places, but like a hotel fancy tea place like this. Chicks love it. You could I mean, I kind of do. Like you guys don't know how I've been decorating it, but I've been trying to go towards like an old Victorian house. Obviously, I can't afford the carved wood, but whatever. Yeah, exactly. Look, I mean, I didn't want to take photos of them to show you guys because I'm pretty sure that's illegal or inappropriate anyways. But the most gorgeous girls I've ever seen. I also saw this rich dude that was there for like his daughter's wedding or something, and I want to say 19-year-old, young, skinny looking, but kind of cute girl, homely looking, if you know what I mean, goes up to this guy and she's like talking him up, like, oh, like whatever, and finds out he's like rich, like a CEO of some company or whatever, because I'm kind of eavesdropping because, you know, I'm nosy. Anyways, and then she starts flirting with him. She's 19. He's got to be 66 or something like that. And overweight, bald, very unattractive man, right? But she finds out he has money and suddenly she's very interested in him. And then I see this old man realize, like, it finally dawns on him, oh, this little girl's hitting on me. So then he starts hitting on her back, and I am just like what's going on? Like, I need to know everything. So I am just walking around. I am just like walking around them. They're near like the bird cages, which are like huge, like taller than me, like bird cages and wider than my arms and like big bird cage. So I'm kind of going around while they're there, listening to them. They're like by the huge Christmas tree and stuff. And yeah, he realizes she's hitting on him. So then he starts going, oh, and you're such a beautiful young lady like you. And it was like out of left field. It was so weird. These people are so weird. I will never understand the sugar baby dynamic, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how Epstein worked too. Like, can we say something that's not going to come off good? But like, do you think they're all victims? Because I saw like a 19-year-old try to pick up an elderly man who she's probably going to poison and steal his money. Let's be realistic, right? She's not like turned on by him or anything like that. Oh, no, 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 no. She's trying to pick up this elderly man so that she gets his money. And it is, I mean, I guess it'll be his body or her body, but it's somebody's body. You can't save people, you guys. Look, it's hard out there. Like, we just talk about the slave lifestyle. Like, if she can get what I think the other podcast that I watched a while ago, he was breaking down. He's like, you need at least, I think it was maybe 15 million or something to not have to work again in this country, like to cover like your old age expenses, you know, inflation and all the crazy stuff, and to be comfortable, not to just barely survive. So if you want to be really comfortable, go on, you know, a vacation a year, whatever. You guys say 2.5 million, but like my house, I got it for like 200,000 and now it's worth 800,000. So it's not a big house. This is like an apartment size. Okay. We're not talking like a huge, this was supposed to be a starter home, but I can't afford to get another home. So it's, I don't know. I really don't think 2.5 million is going to do it. I think he's right. I think you need like 10 million to survive. And maybe even with your 10 million, you have to move to another country. He needs to learn how to carve wood. This is true. I think we need to work on that. I'm gonna tell him that he needs to take it. He started building me stuff. Okay. So some really cute stuff. I might take pictures for next time just to show you. But he's building the cutest, like we have this ugly white Wi-Fi box. Like, it's a big box. It's ugly. So I said, can you make something to like put over it that's still ventilating the air, but like covers it so you don't see how hideous this big white box is, especially since I have like everything is like a dark brown, dark whatever colors, like dark moody colors. So this big white Wi-Fi thing that has to be on top of the counter, so freaking hideous. So then he built out of oak and he stained it like a dark walnut, and it has what's it called, like that, I don't know what it's called. It's like the netting thing, wicker type of whatever thing, and it's like just over it, so it breathes, but it's covered. And then on one side, we put like a canvas, of an oil painting, like a canvas print of an oil painting. So it kind of looks cute, and it's very custom. It's very cute. And he made that. It took him like 3 months, but he was able to do that. So he can just start carving wood. I do need one more room. We have 3 rooms. And if I had one more room, I would be set, because then my dad could come and live with us, because I feel like he's old and he should live with us. He lives maybe 10, 15 minutes away, but I would rather he was right here. You know, like when people reach a certain age, like you want them in the house. I want to be able to like give him his medications and not trust him to take it, you know? Anyways. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I don't think it's going to happen for most of us. I know. It's oak, but it's stained walnut color. Walnut is a color, y'all. Why don't you stain oak? We stained it. Is it wrong? It looks good. It looks really good. We have like the cheap ass quartz countertops. I know, but you know, all the wood in my house is dark. So if I had this light oak, it wouldn't match. You guys, it's all about matching. I really don't give a crap about countertops. I have the plainest quartz thin. It's supposed to be like bathroom thin, like in my kitchen, because the guy, we got robbed when we were redoing our kitchen. He just took like $10,000, and it was like a friend of the family. He just took the money, never gave us the kitchen, and escaped. So we lost it. And then when we finally so we had like no kitchen for a while. We just had like appliances, and that's it. And eventually, like, we saved enough to get, you know, some stuff on, but the guy did give us like these cheap ass quart countertops and left that there. So we had that, and we just kept that and just got cabinets, right? And put the cheap, shitty, stained quartz white countertops on top, because I was done. You know, ideally, I would like to have maybe marble countertops. And I know marble stains, whatever, but I'm okay with that. I mean, I still like it dark. But I do have a full, like 100% oak bed. So the bed frame is like a vintagey looking 100% oak, not stained. It's pretty good. And my dresser and my shoe dresser thing. And that's back in the day when Restoration Hardware was still like really high quality, but affordable. Like you could afford it. Now, if I wanted the dresser, I think a similar dresser that's not as nice was like $8,000. And I'm like, what? For a dresser? There's no way. So thank God I got my oak furniture before things became completely unaffordable. Yes, this is true. Every now and then at night, it does creak. I mean, that works too. Look, I'm not like as bougie as you think I am. I'd be okay with like, as long as it looks good, looks clean, I'm okay with things. I do have an aesthetic. Shoot me. I have an aesthetic. So I like dark, moody colors. That's it. That's all. I mean, I have a metal bed frame in the guest room. I'm fine with that too. Well, tea parties are amazing, and you guys know that they're amazing. Let's go see what else does this hotel have. It has some restaurants. Let's see. Should I go to this restaurant? Look at that. That's in like the middle of like the atrium area. How cute is this? Now that's been around since the 30s. So I want you to like really think about it. This was a rich place in like the 30s. I want to say like 1926 or so. So they started building it in like the late 20s. So it's that golden age, whatever style. Look at this. How much does this stuff cost? Okay, so this restaurant. Is this expensive? Should I tell Steven to take me here? All right, $18 pancakes. He'll die. Ha ha ha. All right, orange juice or grapefruit juice, $7. It's not that bad. I mean, $6 for tea is pretty bad. A latte, $7. That's like a cafe. So this seems more like a breakfasty place. What's the other restaurants? Oh, this is a poolside dining, so that's not for me. Let's see this one. Golf course dining. No, thank you. Sunday brunch. Oh, hello. $120 per person for Sunday brunch. That's a little much. That's more than the tea time. This is really cute. It's like it's a bar and it looks super vintagey, like a 1920s. Why don't they have pictures of it? I feel like they need to be showing this bar. Okay, that's the food. I want you to see the bar. The bar is so beautiful. Like, it's so beautiful. Like, you consider alcoholism. And they don't show it. That's a shame. But you could go look it up. Maybe on like a Yelp or something. Let's see what else. Oh, maybe it's this one. Maybe this is the bar. Why is nothing showing up? What the heck? Oh, there's an internet issue. Oh, well. Oh, here we go. I feel like it looks better than this in reality. Oh my gosh, look, a smoked drink. I want to take Steven here and like have a smoked drink. I don't even drink alcohol, but I'm sure they can like put a smoked drink in a mocktail for me. Yes, it's dimly lit when you go there. They just did this for the photos, but like it's dimly lit. Okay, like an old fashioned is $20. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's it. This is like Miami. This is just typical, I would say. We don't drink wine unless it's imported from the specific winery in Italy. That's really good. Because I don't get migraines and I can have a sip of it. I don't like it. I don't drink it, but I'll have a sip and I won't get a migraine. But if I had even a sip of other wines, I will throw up. Because they're all trash in America. I do not want to encourage alcoholism for him, but I will get him an old fashioned because he likes the vibes of it. That's a waste of money. Like people who spend like a lot on wine is like crazy to me because I mean, I guess if I was a billionaire, I would do it. Who cares at that point? But yeah. Can we see? Look how cute. Yeah, they don't have like good pictures of this bar. This bar was so like the woodwork on the bar was so beautiful. What is this? Oh yeah, there's a pastry shop there and the baby and I saw that and we're like, can you get us some more pastries to go? And Steven's like, no more pastries. Haven't you girls had enough pastries? But the reality is no, because we are like fat maxing because it is the holidays. You got a fat max for the holidays. Everybody needs to be fat. You don't be looking at your anyways, don't be looking at your waistline. Now, I did gain 5 pounds since I started fat maxing after before Thanksgiving, I decided we're going to fat max. It's the holidays and I gained 5 pounds since. So it's not good. I do kind of feel like a roly-poly, but it's important to enjoy the holidays because, you need to put on some weight for the winter to like protect yourself in case of famine. You never know if there's going to be a famine. So everybody needs to like consider just a little bit of weight, a little bit of extra zhuzh. How dare you? The whole point is somebody is serving you. So you feel like you're having an experience. Working is not the experience to me. Oh, stop. Anyways, I am making marshmallows from scratch. So I am making them. I put a little too much molasses. You're not supposed to put molasses in the marshmallows, but I wanted molasses because it has minerals and some health benefits. And I'm using actual marshmallow root tea in the marshmallows and real grass-fed gelatin to make them. I put a little bit too much molasses, so it made it a little more like not as fluffy and a little more like, I would say, a little bit of flan texture for the marshmallows. So this batch, not the best, but so I am doing that. So I'm going to make another batch with maybe no molasses because it was good, but the taste is good, but it ruins the look of the marshmallows. So I am going to redo it, and I'll show you guys when I redo it. Like, making marshmallows is legit amazing. You need a blender, like not a blender, the big hand mixer, like the stand mixer, whatever they call it, like that thing, the big professional-ish house mixer thing, because there's no way. We tried with the hand mixer one, like the immersion blender with like whatever, and it was like burning up because you need to mix it for so long to make the what's essentially like a liquid like turn fluffy. But anyways, and marshmallows can be healthy, thank you, because think about it, they are gelatin, which is like collagen and whatever, and protein, all that crap, and marshmallow root tea, essentially, right? So you're having tea and gelatin combined. And then if you want to add some stuff to make it a little bit sweeter, you can add maple syrup. So maple syrup is actually going to make it healthy. So it's not going to make it bad for you. But maple syrup is very expensive because you need 2 cups of maple syrup, 2 cups of maple syrup for this recipe. So that's why I'm like, let me change it with brown sugar and molasses and see if it still worked. And no, it did not work. Not the way I wanted it to. Anyways, Jesus Christ. Yes, you can torture marshmallows. I mean, we always have good diet. It's just when you fat max, it's going to come up. All right, guys. I'll have my only marshmallows up soon. Anyways, maybe I can sell marshmallows online. I was thinking about doing that. I made like a little bunch of recipes for healthy, functionally medicinal marshmallows. Because, in the old times, marshmallows were a way to soothe the throat. Like if you were sick or you had a sore throat or you had digestive issues, because marshmallow root tea will like help heal and calm digestive issues. So if you got food poisoning, if you got reflux, if you got any of these issues in your gut or your throat, marshmallow root will help you, and the gelatin too. So like by making the soft, fluffy marshmallows, it was medicinal. So yes, you can make them healthy. Yes, they have a little bit of sugar, but I do not believe sugar is bad as long as you don't overdo it and you don't have it with, I think it's like with fat or something like that. Like if you mix sugar and fat, it's more likely to stay on you. Oh yeah, and sardine maxing, that is the most important thing. Sardines will make you healthy like nothing else. You should be eating 1 can of sardines at least every other day for one of your meals. Your life will change, and it's so cheap and so much easier. Peanut brittle sounds nice. I've never actually liked peanut brittle, but if you made it, but I've only seen it like in the chemically, processed places. I've never had like homemade, so it might be good. I don't like fish oil vitamins. I can't do it. No. Nope. Anyways, so I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I will be back during the week maybe to talk some crap. I'm going to think of something. And if anyone has any topics for the holidays, like something special you want me to talk about, get into the Discord. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And if you want like hilarious merch, we have merch in the shop. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, if you haven't followed me on Twitter, it's Persian Kitty Cat with a K on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I will see you all next time. I mean, we all got to make choices. Oh my goodness. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Have a great weekend. Bye.
The old gods whisper with tongues of sin. They crawl through culture to pull you in. Don't be for sale, don't wear their grin. The old are rotten, don't let them win. Eyes and hats and mirrored glass. They promised youth, they cursed your past. You drank the lie with ruby lips, but every toast is one.